So if you're watching this video, you've probably seen someone do one of the exercises I just demonstrated improperly, or you've done it yourself. I know as an athlete, I've done these previously in the past. When we do these exercises, we want to be as specific as possible to get the specific adaptations that we need to throw harder, to return from injury, or to increase our endurance. So we're going to go through a few variations of different exercises that we do prior to throwing or in our arm care band routine. Doesn't matter what band you're using as long as it's the right intensity. We can step out, step in for various exercises, and then doing the exercises properly. So doesn't matter what band. I have just some green band here at the clinic. You can use any band that you have as long as it allows you to do exercises properly. So all of those exercises were done wrong for one reason or another, either malpositioning of the scapula, too much extension through the lumbar spine, improper positioning of my lever arms when I'm going through the throwing motion, not isolating the rotator cuff muscles when I'm doing these. To work the rotator cuff, how it has to be trained to increase your performance, you have to be very specific in contraction type and how you're doing in the position, how you're doing the exercise in the position that you're putting the shoulder in when you do it. So you always want to focus on proximal humeral head positioning while you do the exercises, maintaining the scapular positioning or going into the scapular positioning that's necessary for that exercise. So you have to be strong in retraction and protraction. So I see a lot of people do this. You saw this in the beginning, an internal rotation. We've actually done a few videos on subscapularis training. You're going to want to check those out. You can do them in a stance that closely approximates what happens during the throw, and you're going to get more benefit from it. So we always like to put people close to the position that they're at and then have them do specific things for each exercise. So in this exercise, I'm going to maintain scapular retraction, depression, while I do an internal rotation. I'm trying to do my best to turn off pec. It's not going to be possible without some sort of reciprocal inhibition, without someone here, without a piece of equipment here where I'm pushing against it, but I want to get closer to it. If I'm at the field, I don't have all of the options that I may in a gym. So I'm here, shoulder down and back, elbow 30 degrees in front of my chest. So 30 degrees right here. Boop. So in the scapular plane, in a split stance or a lunge stance, and then I'm going to perform internal rotation, keeping my chest up, shoulder blade down and back. So I can perform it with protraction and inhibit that anterior deltoid muscle a little bit better. So there's number one. I want to show you a few variations. If you want to work the rotator cuff, I'll actually show it left-handed. Good ways always to do that shoulder depression, chest up. But if we want to do it in a 90-90 position, I'll act like a left-handed thrower here for the sake of the video. And I'm going to go in the scapular plane, same thing, 30 degrees in front, pushing my elbow out that way. So it's like I'm pushing my shoulder, almost like I'm pushing it out of the socket. Facing the attachment, chest up. My humerus, my upper arm bone, is like a perfect piston. It doesn't deviate back and forth, up or down. And I definitely don't pull back this way when I do it. So I want to protract, push my elbow out of the socket, or push my shoulder out of the socket, push my elbow out that way as much as possible to inhibit that deltoid. I don't want to be using the deltoid, which can create a superior migration of the humeral head in the socket. So I want to do my best to isolate that infraspinatus and teres minor. So now, if we want to work some of the periscapular muscles, the muscles around our shoulder blade, I can do various different exercises. I can have the band up high and do a shoulder extension. So I can come down, shoulders down and back, external rotation of my shoulder, so I'm turning my hand out this way. And I'm pushing my fist towards the ground as I do it. I don't have to get super far back this way. And I shouldn't if my shoulder blades are in the right position, down and back. So I'm here, then I can even add it a posterior lunge, a slide back, or I can go into a split stance and do the same exercise. And I actually work a little bit different areas of the contraction. So now you got a few variations there. I can have the band go low or semi-low, so I got it somewhere around waist height, and I can grab the handles or I can grab the band, or you can have the wrist straps on if that's the type of band you have. I'm going to tuck my butt under. So you saw before when I was pulling it back, I was extending through my low back. And I wasn't isolating the contraction on any of those exercises. I was going too fast and I wasn't holding at end range. So to activate the tissue, we want to, especially before the game, we want to increase the blood flow. That's part of the goal. And anytime you do any movement or exercise, you're going to increase your blood flow. But why would I just do that when I can make the exercises specific and activate the specific muscles that need to be active for the throw? So I'm going to have this here. I'm going to do a posterior pelvic tilt. I'm going to do a Y. I'm pointing my thumbs backwards. So I'm doing glenohumeral external rotation. Same thing I did on the shoulder extension exercise. Thumbs down and back, and I can hold, do a 5-second hold, or I can do the same thing. Posterior lunge, or do a split stance. It gets increasingly difficult as I use the dynamic things, and I don't have to have a very strong band if I'm doing the warm-up. Depends on how I'm doing it. If I want to increase my strength, increase the strength of the band. Hold a little bit longer at the end range. Your goal should always be to get as strong as possible at the end ranges. So one more I wanted to do for you guys today is I'm going to have the band low. I got it hooked low, and I'm going to bring this band up under my armpits. I'm going to come into a lunge stance because I do want to activate my quadriceps, my glute muscles, my hamstrings, because they're going to be needed when I throw. So from here, I'm going to do a protraction reach, and I've seen a lot of people do protraction serratus anterior exercises online, the muscle that comes around on your rib cage here from underneath your shoulder blade, and they never access the full range of contraction. I want to go all the way to the end of my range of motion as far as possible. So when I'm in here, I'm going to reach, and when you feel like you're at the end of your reach, reach a little farther and press, press, press. Reach as far as you possibly can. Turn your palms up, so I'm doing glenohumeral external rotation once again. Reaching, reaching, and then if I want to incorporate more quadricep, I can straighten my knee as I reach, and it gets increasingly difficult. So it all depends on what your motive for the exercise is. If I'm going to do the exercise as a warm-up, I need to do less repetitions, less intense. I don't need a very strong band for that. I want to isolate the movements, then I want to make them more dynamic with a lunge, with a straightening of the knee, with a split stance. If I'm doing them maybe after I throw a couple days later, I want to get a little soreness out, move a little bit, get some blood flow into the tissues again. I don't need it to be super difficult there. Maybe I'll do a few more reps. So you got to play with it, find what's best for you, but I see a lot of people doing arbitrary band exercises online, and it's not making an impact on their performance the way it could be if they did them properly. So I wanted to give you guys some alternatives in this video, give you some things you can do. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll follow up with some more band exercises you can do before the game or after your throwing outing, or even leading up to your throwing outing to increase strength, endurance, or help you increase your rotator cuff and periscapular strength so you can increase your velocity, shoulder stability, and decrease your likelihood of injury. Make sure to subscribe. We post every Wednesday. We got a lot of good videos coming for you guys. We're always looking at what you guys are watching the most and what you guys are liking the most, so keep that in mind, and we'll see you at the next video.